That's where the address they gave us.
That's
But
like
we have problem with that because we were living there about 4 months. Got a bill from the gas company because every month I'd call the gas company and say I haven't got a bill. Don't worry, you'll get one. At the end of 4 months, here I am, 8 months pregnant with Gerard, and they said, "We're going to shut your gas off." So I went downtown, and boy, snotty people there. What
They
I, you
haven't
know,
changed.
no. And if I had thought of it, I mean, I was big with all three of you. If I had thought of it, I would have gone. I asked this one lady, and nothing. The other, I said, "I want your boss." No, nothing. Then boss. And he says, "I'm the boss." What do you want? I says, "Look, we never got a bill. I called and all that jazz. They told me don't worry about it. What I should have done," he says, "Lady, we can't do anything for you, and we had to pay all that back time. What I should have done is gone, oh, 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 my baby, I'm going to have my baby. It's his fault. It's his fault. Ah, you know? But dummy and being raised to be, honest. But boy, I should have done that to that asshole because that's what he really was.
No, the other one.
So anyway,
No.
after Gerard, I had two misses, one big one and one small one. And then um, I thought, I told Dad I'm pregnant. He says, "You tell me that every month." But I was pregnant, and I went to the doctor. I always had to have a I had to have a blood test with Pete to make sure I was pregnant, because I have a condition that I can have a period. Well,
That's
you can-
okay.
I
You said
I,
diarrhea already.
yeah, I can have a period and still be pregnant, and that's the way it was with Pete, and that's the way it was with you, and it was also the way with you. So then I had easy pregnancy, no problems. Oy vey, I ate all my goodies. If they told me I had a fatal illness, I'd go back to it. Chocolate, ice cream, all the goodies I love.
Olives, dill pickles.
Oh, I ate like you wouldn't
Is
believe.
that why I like olives and the pickles?
And
Did
also
Mom wake you up in the middle of
Italian
the night for
ice.
stuff?
Yeah.
Did she?
Ah.
Like what? Like olives and
Where the
dill
hell
pickles?
did you go in Taylor to get like olives and dill pickles in 1962?
Oh well, it wasn't the fancy kind I like now. So
Well, still, where did he go?
we just went to Farmer Jack's.
And he made him go in the middle of the night and stuff?
Oh no, I never was like that. I think that's a fallacy.
No, it's not.
Look in
No,
the refrigerator. She didn't have to go anywhere further than the
listen.
kitchen.
Oh, okay. I always went to store and got all my goodies. But one thing Dad always had to do was go out and get me pop. I drank about a case a day, didn't I, Dad, of pop? He was always going out and getting me
Nice
a
and healthy. Just drug
And
up for you, drink pop for
and
you.
strawberries. No, with all three of you, strawberries.
Mm.
Isn't somebody allergic to him now? No.
No.
This guy I work with, we're working nights. And his wife would call him and say, "Bring me home this and this and this."
Well, at least he was already out, though.
Hey,
He wasn't asleep at
listen.
home asleep.
I went out and got my own. Just a pop, he would have to get, because I'd go shopping.
Remember,
I learned to drive
Town
when I
Club?
was 30.
Remember Town Club?
Yeah.
Club pop.
Auntie Reenie, that's another thing. Auntie Reenie, that was another reason why I had a lot of pump. But with Gerard, I was 28 when he was born, but I learned to drive when I was 30. So then,
Uncle Stash taught you.
yeah,
Mm,
bless
when-
his heart.
When you're done with the pregnancies, you gotta tell us about that.
Oh, you want to hear about that?
Yeah, you gotta talk about Pete now.
No, yeah.
Okay.
After your
Okay.
pregnancies.
Well, with Pete, it was about like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You were home. You hadn't gone to work yet. It was in the morning. Same thing. I had a diarrhea. I got up and I knew, well, the
Ate
baby's going to
diarrhea.
come. Knew it was all three of you. Then I wash all the sheets. I wash everything. Make sure, change all the beds and all that. Then I call Aunt Uncle Joe, because that's where Grandma was. So then he come down and Uncle Stash would come down. Well, they came
Well, that
down.
was like a half-hour drive, huh?
Yeah. Then they come down. And I'm doing this and I'm doing that and all that. And they're looking at me. Staring at me. And I thought, oh, I can't take this. I'm not, all I'm having is, I'm not bad cramps, but like when you have a
Contraction.
diarrhea. Right. I'm sorry, but that's the
Oh,
way,
you guys.
guys, diarrhea cramps. Maybe that's why you
There's
have,
something to that.
maybe
because
that's why you
everybody-
have
Let's find out for our life as a
Everybody
man.
on this side of the table has diarrhea how many
Right.
3 days a week?
But it's true. And then Dad says, well, I'm going to go to the liquor store. Well, the guys at the liquor store were there when we first moved in, and they knew Dad.
So Dad said, I want to go to the liquor store.
Dad says, yeah, that's true. Dad says, well, I'm going to go to the liquor store and pick up something. I said, I'm going to go with you. And Uncle Stash and Grandma said, and Joe, no, don't. I says, look, I'll take my little bag and I'll go with him, and if he has to take me, I'll go. Okay. So what happens? We go to the store, and it was Joe and Ed. Remember?
Joe and Ed's,
Joe and Ed.
Joe
Yeah.
and Ed's party store.
At the coffee
Right,
shop? Where-
right.
Yeah.
Joe and
It
Ed.
used to be called the party store.
And I walk in, and they're looking at me, and they're saying, what are you doing here? I said, nothing. So Dad got stuff, whatever he wanted. He wanted to get, booze to celebrate. He celebrated with you, got crocked, and here I am. Oh. And same thing with Pete. So then they're so worried. Are you okay? Be careful. Are you okay? What do you want? Do you want anything? And all that. So we get in the car and go home, and I told Dad they're driving me crazy. So then I thought, okay, Dad, take me already. Because I never had what they call labor pains.
So
All I
Pete
had was
went
cramps.
right from the party store to the hospital.
Yeah. Oh wait, listen.
You know?
This is good. After the party, wait, listen. After the party store, we went home. Then Dad decided to take me to the hospital, Oakwood. So we get to Oakwood, and
Wasn't it like flooded or something?
no, that was that one.
Oh.
So we went to Oakwood, and we go in
That
there.
was a nice hospital. You notice they're not
Yeah.
Dad's not going to bitch about the conditions.
Yes, he did. Well, anyway, we went there, and the nurses came in and they checked me over and all that, and they says, when you get what they call bearing pains, she says, let us know. Well, I'd walk with Dad back and forth, and then every now and then I'd say, well, I gotta lay down. Then this old bag came in. She looked like the Wicked Witch of the West, honestly. And she come in and she said, get out of there. You got to get up and walk. So I'd get up and I'd go back and forth. Then the last time I said to Dad, no, I'm going. So Dad went to eat. And I'm laying there, and this wicked witch comes in, and I says, I was really, she says, you keep that up and you'll be here all night. And I thought, oh, you bitch. So anyway, Dad went to eat. Okay? So then the doctor comes in and he checks me over and he says, well, he says, oh my God. She says, how come she wasn't prepped? And the nurse says, well, we didn't know. Well, that old witch took off. See, she was supposed to tell him. She didn't even check me.
Well, yeah, she wasn't checking to see if you were
No,
dilated
no.
or whatever.
See, because from the time I get bearing pains, 15 minutes later, my baby comes. So then they take me in, and then Peter, I remember, she said, breathe 10 times, and then we were going out, and Dad was there, and Dr. Maynard, Dr. Pasternacki delivered, Pete, Dr. Maynard delivered, and we went up in the elevator together. He paged Dad, and we're going up in the elevator, and I says, how is he, honey? He says, well, he's got big balls. and then he says, I didn't get to finish my stew.
Daddy said he had big balls?
This one
Daddy
had.
said that? Always leave, always.
So we got upstairs, and then, that was it. That was 8 at night.
So if ever there's a job
Yeah,
to be done,
he
we
was
gotta
in the
do
morning.
Well, the
You were
doctor
at night.
picks him up by the legs like this, picks him up like a chicken. There he is.
So then, we went in, and it was, let's see, I went in. Who did I have then? Anyway, I had him at night. I spent one day there. I spent one night, and then the next day I went home. And of course, Grandma was there. Then Grandma got sick. And I was pregnant like this. Well, to be honest, I didn't want boys for the simple reason is my
You mean you're talking about
great-grandfather.
Emily
No, yeah. I never wanted boys for the simple reason my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and my uncles were in the war. I did not want to have boys for that simple reason. But we had boys. You had a name for it because of St. Gerard. And Pete, I thought, well, he's a Drasba. I'll call him after his grandfather's. Peter John. And you, as black as you were, he was an albino, but he was prettier than you.
Did you
Well,
say
it
Grandma
was-
said he
it
should have
was
been a girl?
fortunate that either one of you had to serve in the military.
Yes, I thank God for that. Because that's why, it's not that I don't love you, but that what bothered me. Too many, Uncle Joe,
Mhm.
and all that. I lived through too much of what can happen to veterans
You
with
were
Grandpa.
in the right time span. and,
Yes.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
He
one
just-
thing,
Got by the skin of his
by the
teeth.
skin of my teeth, because I had a single-digit draft number when Nixon, rest his miserable soul, canceled the draft.
mhm.
But even though I didn't want my kids to serve in the Army, I made sure both of you, when you were of 18 years old, to register for the draft and to vote.
Mhm.
So then he was born, and he was like an albino. His hair was white. He was all white. He was an albino. And Grandma, when he was growing up, Grandma says, he's so pretty. She wanted to put him in dresses. She says, he's so pretty. He should be a girl.
There's pictures of Daddy in that album. That must be where you get it from, because he looked the same way
Oh, yeah. He was real
Wow.
light.
Young.
when you were real little.
Yeah.
There's one picture in the album of you, and it looked a lot like Gerard.
When you were little?
Really?
Yeah. And
No.
That one album you had out.
You think
Well,
so?
we'll look at
Yeah.
it later because we can't see the album on tape.
But anyway, then Anne Marie Van Etten was born. And Pete was about 5. No, he was about 5. 4 or 5.
4, 'cause he's 5.
And he just loved her. He wanted, so he says, Mom, I have a baby. I says, yeah, big deal. 5, 7 years between Gerard and you.
No, 6. It's 6 and 6.
No, 6 and 5. You're
6
12
and
years
5.
older than me.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
Well,
how
if
are
you count
12
the
years older?
months, it's,
Well,
it's
anyway.
it's 6 years between each of us.
So, but, and I says, well, honey, I says, I don't know. And he says, I want a baby sister. Well, when I was
So you went to the
40,
baby store and
I
you
should've
ordered one.
known.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't need to be all the time.
Well,
now.
Gerard always says, oh, if Mom has a girl, she'll get away with murder, and I'll have
Was
to
I
do
right?
Yes.
that. Yeah, because when you were born, when you were 7 years old, you learned to wash dishes, you learned to wash the stairs downstairs in the kitchen, and the same
No,
thing
I
with
didn't
Pete.
have to wash the stairs. I had to vacuum them.
Oh, you had a
I had
vacuum,
carpet
yeah.
then, yeah. I had to learn how to clean the bathroom too. That was my job.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt.
Nope.
And
Nope.
clean out the dog pen.
Oh, well, that was Dad's. But then anyway, I got pregnant when I was, let's see, not when I was 40, because I had you,
No, you had her when you were 40.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was in May. So I got pregnant with you, and when we first went to Dr. Maynard, he says, oh, they used to go by heartbeats then. And he says, oh, it's a girl. And we went home and we told Pete, and he was happy. He wanted a sister. Little did he know. Then later on, Dr. Maynard says, from the heartbeat, oh, it's going to be a boy. And we told Pete, and he, well,
You let that quack deliver me?
Yeah, he was a good doctor.
no, he
Yeah,
was.
he
I
was.
wish-
Dr. Maynard?
Man,
Yeah.
I thought he was the one we were talking about killed grandma.
No,
that's
no.
Dr. Hammer.
Hammer.
Okay.
Doctor, I
Maynard.
wish we had doctors like
Okay,
Maynard and Dr. Cole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Kodo, yeah, but Maynard, I don't know.
Well, Maynard was already getting ready to retire.
Yeah.
Because after I had Pete, when I got pregnant with Anna, Dr. Maynard, what happened was, the same thing, diarrhea and all that and cramps. Grandma Drasba was there, and I did all the washing and everything. And Grandma Drasba said, should you be doing all this stuff? I says, Mom, I'm going to have the baby today. And the best part is, I was always 2 weeks early, okay? So Dad took his vacation 2 weeks. He went back to work the 1st of July. You can tell who his daughter is. Stubborn like his father, like her father. He went back the 1st of July. And he had 2 weeks before that because you came 2 weeks ahead of what they said, and you did, and Pete did too. So got up. Dad was working days. Went to work. And I got up, and the same thing. I went through the same routine, and Grandma says, Drasba says, you shouldn't be doing all this, should you? I says, well, Ma, I got to get it done. Then I told her, I says, I think we better call Ed. So we called Dad. I had called Dr. Maynard's office. It was closed. I called his house, and his wife says, well, he's not here right now. I says, well, I'm ready to deliver. Should I just go to Oakwood? She says, lots of luck. There was a big flood. Oakwood was closed. I says, where am I supposed to go? She says, well, if you want to, you can try Otter Drive. God, thanks a lot. This one comes, Father comes home. We get in a car, and we got lost, didn't we, Dad?
I didn't know we were out of drive hospital.
No, we were driving all
Somewhere
over
on Otter Drive?
Melvindale and Lincoln Park and everything. Finally, we got there, and then we got there, and here there was women in labor, women waiting to go in, and women that were in already. So I was laying, and like I say, I didn't have what they call labor pains. I just had bearing pains. So I'm laying there, and I told the nurse I have to go to the toilet. She says, okay, go, and I did, and everything came out okay, and I lay down, and the doctor, Maynard, I'm laying there, and I was
Dr.
breathing.
Maynard made it to the hospital.
Yeah,
He delivered Anna?
yeah. But I was laying there, and this nurse came in. She was real upset with me because I was moaning, groaning, screaming. I don't know if you remember that, because I used to that. So she came in, and she says, I don't know why you're in here. So then Dr. Maynard comes in, and he's checking me, and he says, he asked if I passed my water. I says, I did. He says, well, we're going to have to take your water from you. And then he says, no, you better take her in. Well, what had happened was this one, Anna, instead of coming out the regular way, her head was turned the opposite. And what he thought was my bladder being full was her head. I almost lost her.
She was a breach.
No, what she was is that her head was supposed to be this way, and instead it was that way. And if she would have been born that way, she would have died because of broken neck. So anyway, he took me in, and I told him, I says, you know, I want a spinal this time. And he says, oh, God. And he goes in the hallway, and he says, oh, you, come in. Give her a spinal. Well,
You
the
found
kid-
an anesthesiologist
yeah,
wandering
yeah,
around?
right. So he,
See, now this is before HMOs. I mean,
no,
you
this,
know.
this is true. This is God's truth. And the doctor comes in, and he's giving me this spinal, and it was too late. I had her in natural birth, and then he had to cut me. You know, they don't like to rip you. And it felt
Well,
like,
what did they do? Stick his hands in and spin me around?
well,
or
let me
what?
tell you, what it felt like, he took the knife and he cut me, and that anesthesiologist, whatever, he was a doctor, And if it wasn't for him, she probably wouldn't have been here. But Dr. Maynard cut me, and boy, it felt like hot. And then this other doctor went all the way like this. He went in and he turned her around and brought her out. And then they says, "See, you want to see your daughter?" Well, with all my glasses, I couldn't see. They wanted me to see the birth. All of a sudden, they cleared the mirror, you know. And then they brought her out, and then they were talking this and that, and they says, "We'll give you her daughter." I says, "What is it?" She says, "A girl." And the nurse is talking to me while they were taking care of her, and she says, "What are you going to call her?" I says, "Anna." And they brought her alongside me, and she was bluish. And I said, "She looks like my mother." I says, "No, she looks like Karen." I says, "What's the matter with her?" And they took her away because she was like that. So then then finally they were working and all that jazz, and Dr. Mader was sitting there. He was so small. He's sitting there and stitching me, and he's supposed to freeze me. Now I felt everything, and the stitches. And I asked him how many stitches I had. He said, "I haven't got time to count stitches, but I could feel every one of them, you know." So then we get out in the hallway, and Dad's there, and Dr. Mader picked Anna up, and he says, "See, it's a girl." And Dad says, "Well, I'm glad you were wrong, because he said it was going to be a boy." Then we went up, and the gal I was in there with, she had had a baby, and her husband was in service, and he came back, she had another baby. And Anna was so pretty, she was like the Charmaine baby. Everybody, this gal next to me said, "Oh, you have to see her baby. Oh, you have to see her baby. Oh, this and that." And she played from the time she got up in the morning, which is about like 7 o'clock, till 7 o'clock in the morning, round the clock. Remember that Ya-Ya movie, the music?
7 in the morning and 7 at night.
No, she played it all night.
Who?
The gal next to me.
Oh.
She had
Yellow
a-
music, the Beatles.
Oh, God. She played it loud. So Dr. Maynard came in. Now, I had Anna July 1st. And I said, "When can I go home?" And he looked around. He says, "You go tomorrow." So I went home the 3rd of July.
So
And
you
she
were there 2 days for me then.
No.
I was born on the 1st, you went home on the 3rd.
Yeah, but it was 8 at night.
When I was born?
Yes.
When I was born in Dearborn at Outer Drive Hospital.
No.
No.
Uh,
Lincoln Park.
At Outer Drive Hospital.
Lincoln Park.
Detroit, Outer Drive, Lincoln Park. I mean,
No.
Dearborn,
Lincoln Park?
Outer
Lincoln
What
Park.
hospital?
Outer Drive
Outer
Hospital.
Drive.
Outer Drive Hospital. You were born 8 at night.
And we were both
So-
born 8 in the morning.
How did I get the E
No,
at
I
the
was
end of my
born
name?
8 at night.
Well, it's Gerard now.
What?
When they have you fill out after the baby's born all the names, so I put down Gerard. And then when we come home, they send you a certificate from the hospital, and I had Gerald. So I
Been
called the
fighting that
hospital,
fight my whole life.
and I called. Well, Gerard's a good name.
I like
called.
it. No, I'm saying it's
Gerald,
everybody
there
tries
it
to
is.
put
Gerald,
that L
right.
in there. I don't know why.
Gerald?
I
Because
ca-
it's easier, you know. It's
Well,
more
I
fun.
called the hospital and I said to her, I told her my name and all that, and I says, "They got my son's name wrong." She says, "Okay, just a minute." She gets it out, and I says, "They have Gerald, my son's name, Gerard." She says, "Mrs. Drasbod, the name is the name you wrote down is Gerard." Oh. So then they had whatchamacall. So Pete, we had no problem. But Anna, when she came, I said to the nurse, "It's Anna, A-N-N-A." She said, "Oh, let's put an E on the end. That's French for Anna." I says, "No, I want A-N-N-A." Well, there you go. You two got screwed up.
Well, now wait a minute. I thought it was spelled A-N-N-E.
It is.
It is.
Okay, so you gave
Mom
up.
told them A, but they put E anyway.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, that's French." But if you look, the spelling is always with the
Okay, and
E.
then tell them how happy Pete was when I came home.
Oh, no.
I ran around naked in the street.
No,
going,
no,
"Woo,
no,
look
no,
at
no,
this
I
no,
was
no.
upset.
No, no,
You
no.
were. I
Wait, wait,
was.
shh. No, Grandma Drasba said that Pete was real happy, and Gerard he never said one thing, one or the other.
Well,
He went on the porch and he says, "My mama had a girl.
Yeah, I
my
was
mama
happy.
had a girl."
no.
He was happy.
Well, Pete was. Well, yeah, Pete was 6 years old. I mean, I was happy.
Pete was
but-
happy, but you went on the porch and was going like this.
I thought it was Pete that
But
did
I
it.
remember thinking to myself, because the kids in it, like Tommy Surma, Stevie Alexander, whoever I was hanging out with at the time, and I was thinking to myself, a girl?
Grandma said you went on the porch
What do
and
you
you
mean?
were
What
like
does
this.
that
Well, I was. I had no idea how to deal, and to this day I have no idea how to deal with girls.
Yeah. Well, you know what he told me? He says, if you ever have when I was pregnant with Pete, he says, Mom, if you have a girl, I'm going to end up doing all the work. She's going to get away with murder.
Okay, tell how it went the time Gerard packed up his stuff and you made him leave.
Oh, when he was little.
I threatened to run away from
How
home.
old was he?
Oh, no, I kicked you out.
How old was he?
Oh, gosh, you must have been about 6 or 7.
You were kicked out of the
Well-
house so many
And
times.
no, he was not.
Well, I kept threatening to run away from home, and Mom said, "Okay, go ahead. Here's the issue. Open the suitcase for me. What do you want to put in it?" And I didn't get any further than the Johnsons or something.
Yeah, he was walking down. I was watching him. Well, see, every time he threatened to run away, I'd always say, "Okay, I'll pack your hanky and you can go." Well, this time he really got me. So he packed his little suitcase and he was going. And Mr. Johnson lived on the 2 houses away, and he's coming walking, and I'm
And
watching.
he's got a suitcase.
And Gerard's got his little suitcase. And Mr. Johnson says, "Where are you going, Gerard?" He says, "My mama kicked me out of the house." And I said, "Gerard, come home." But Gerard, boy, the friends he had, the ones that lived on Irving. No, was it
Way to get
Irving
back.
or Fillmore? Which was a street right after
In which
Fillmore.
direction?
Fillmore,
When are
okay.
we talking about? I mean,
When you were little and you went to the friends, and I told you you had to be home at this time, and it was an hour
I
and
never
you went
left
home.
the block. I didn't leave Calvin Street till I was 10 years old on my own.
Well, this one time you went, they lived, I can't remember the name. They had mostly boys. It was just right after you came off of Wolf Island this way, near where did the Dabbles live. And he
The
wasn't,
Olenzacks? Mark Olenzack and Tom?
no, not them. I can't remember
Oh,
them.
Mahaliks.
Yeah,
Mahalik.
that's it, Mahalik.
Those damn Irish, huh?
No, they were Polish. Mihalik.
Well, Mr. Mahalik was. I don't know about Mrs. Mahalik.
He was an hour late, and I thought, if I go, he's going to be mad if I don't. I went, and they had you tied to a tree, your neck and everything. And I went there, and I says, "Oh, my God." I says, "You cut him off." And I went to the house, and I told them, and Mr. Mahalik thought, boys will be boys. But, I mean, they had him like this. You know, Auntie
They had him
Eleanor.
like what?
Tied to a tree.
Yeah.
Where the racquetball court is now, we used to call that the sand pit. That was the
Yeah.
forbidden zone. That's where we went to play.
Right. And I mean, they had around the throat and everything. You know, Auntie Eleanor, I can't remember how old she was, 11, 12. And they tied her up. They were playing Uncle Joe and Uncle Stash. And I can't remember now. Uncle Joe would remember who it was that was the one that cut her throat. But they had her tied up, you know, all over in
Uncle
a
Joe
chair.
and Uncle Stash?
No, Uncle Joe, Uncle Stash, and their friend. You know, they're going to play cowboy and Indians. And then they heard Grandma where they went to cut. Well, they cut and they cut her throat and all that. Hoy vey. So that's why I was. And I remember one time when Pete was, I never let you guys go to the, away too far from home. And this one time Pete was about, he was about 5. And I gave him, I always told him, I don't care if it's male, female, young or old. Anyone approaches you, take off. You don't remember this. You were too young.
Sure.
And I send him to mail a letter. I thought, well, okay, because he's always bugging me. So he went and he mailed the letter. Then he's coming back. It was a small 2-wheeler. He's coming back as fast as can be. And I said, "What's the matter, honey?" He says, "These 2 boys got out of the car and they were asking me for direction. They wanted me to get in." And he took off.
Good job.
Well, I scared the hell out of all
Well,
3
you
of
know,
you.
Ma, if I pray to God someday I have kids of my own, they'll never leave the house.